How you doing, little T? Little closer at the end than it should have been. The basketball show post-game reaction. Auburn wins in Austin against Texas. Woo! Got close.
Yeah, I'm having some heart palpitations right now. And that took a turn at the end. I can't remember. I can go back and look at it. I cannot remember at what point in the second half it was a 20-plus point lead. And that changed very quickly. I was giving a lot of praise to Auburn in the beginning of the game in my mind because they were taking advantage of the dry runs that Texas was going on. You know, they went on a 4.5 minute stretch without scoring, and Auburn was capitalizing on those opportunities. And that narrative completely flipped at the end of the game. But y'all talked to Stephen Pearl today on the next round about finding the ability to win a close game, and that's exactly what they did tonight.
Yeah, and it ends up being 87-82. So Auburn will be the number one team in the country. Well, I don't want to say that because we've got games coming up on Saturday, but with Auburn's next road game, if they win that one, they should be the number one team in the country, already number one in all the metrics. It's just the AP poll we're waiting on because number one Tennessee finally lost. They got drilled tonight by Florida 73-43. So Auburn probably with the fact that they only had one loss and Tennessee was unbeaten, that was the only thing keeping them from being number one. Auburn now has 7 quad one wins. So that is just a wait until Monday kind of thing. If Auburn's able to win Saturday, that Auburn will join where they are in all the metrics, the KenPom and the net. They'll be number one. Let's do this game backwards, and we'll of course get to your comments, which is why we're here, is to get plenty of reaction for you guys. But we'll give you guys time to populate here, jump in the chat room, give us some comments. We'll give you our thoughts quickly, and then we'll go all comments with you. And this is the basketball show from the next round. Jim Dunaway and Taylor Korn here. We'll do it again tomorrow night after the Alabama game. And then our recorded podcast of the basketball show will air Thursday night and drop Thursday or Friday morning. And then we'll do it all again on Saturday. They allowed, Auburn did, 55 points in the second half. And Taylor, that's not the team defense we have been seeing from Auburn. But as you said, they got up 21, and then it was like they hit cruise control, and then Texas kicked it into a different gear, and all of a sudden it became a game at the end. 55 is uncharacteristic for this Auburn defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is going to be something that y'all talked to Stephen about today. It seemed like things got a little sloppy with 5-ish, maybe a little more time left in the second half. But I started thinking about it when it was a turnover. Janai turned the ball over, and it was a possession that was uncharacteristic. And in a tight game, I don't think that he would have made that decision that he did. So I think that was what y'all talked to him about earlier. They got a little sloppy and carefree, and it came back to bite them quick. The kid, Arthur Kaluma, I think is how you say his last name, couldn't miss. Yes. Incredible game. But yeah, I think they got sloppy at the end of the game.
Yeah, Kaluma had 34 points, 12 of 16 from the field. Chad Baker Mazzara did a really good job of slowing down for most of the game of Trey Johnson, one of their big scorers there. Trey got his late. Next thing I wanted to bring up before we get to the comments was the late in the game, the officiating there. I thought it was an obvious hook and hold, though briefly. It was enough to flip over Chad Baker Mazzara. Left shoulder, he was able to hit one of 2 free throws. Left shoulder injury. Luckily, it didn't appear to be anything bad or hard or something that's going to last for a long time. So they got that right, but they had to go to review for that. The one with Janai Broome, the obvious push to the forehead there, the hit of the forehead. I don't think there's anything vicious about it, but it's a foul. And when
Right.
you miss, and you're going to miss calls sometimes, but when you miss calls like that, I think you've got to let the player vent. He just got popped in the forehead, and you didn't call it. So you've got to sort of, put earplugs in and not listen to him, what he's talking to you about. In my opinion, you sort of let him vent, and you tell him, you're like, hey, if I missed it, you've said your piece. Now shut up. Now shut up. Give a couple of times to shut up before hitting with a T. I thought that T came a little too quick there, and it almost was a big part in the ending of that game. What did you think of that?
I agree. I mean, when they showed the replay, it was very obvious that he got hit in the face. But when you have as much experience playing college basketball as Janai does, this is his 5th season playing, you have to keep your composure in those situations. Is it going to be easy to do? No, absolutely not. But you have to be able to keep your composure. He's going to be playing, like they said on the broadcast, he's going to be playing in the NBA, and you can't do that there. And when the game is that close, especially, you have to be aware of what's going on. You have to be aware of the circumstances, the situation that your team's in, and you have to have a little bit of self-control, because like you said, that had potential to be a big flip in the game right there at the end. So I think that should it have been called a foul? Yes, but Janai can't act like that.
Yeah, Chad Bacon-Mazar, by the way, his school record consecutive free throws ends right there as well.
Yep.
51 straight. He hit the front end, missed the second one of that flagrant one free throw shooting, and that ends the streak at 51. What a great streak it was. 7 straight for Auburn now. 8 straight SEC wins going back to last year in the run through the tournament. Let's get some comments. And you want to pop them in, Taylor, or you want me to? You tell me how you want to roll with this.
Yeah, I can go through. I'm going to scroll back to the beginning.
Yeah, well, we'll start with Landmine Believer at number 1. Yeah, throw him up there, because congrats to Bruce Pearl. Let's don't overshadow this. Bruce Pearl is by himself now the winningest basketball coach in Auburn history, with 214 wins at Auburn. And I talked about it on the show today, sent it out on a social media platform at National Live. No matter what school you're at, to be the winningest coach of that school in any sport is a big deal. And Bruce Pearl will not accept accolades yet. They tried to give it to him in the postgame the other day, and he was like, we'll celebrate this at Lake Martin in the summer, but right now it's about this season. He'll probably do the same thing in postgame tonight, but it's a big deal. Now go ahead with the rest of them. Thank you, Landmine Believer, for pointing that out.
I think that you may have popped this up when we were talking earlier, but Forrester, that was unnecessarily stressful. Yes, it was. But this was, again, I feel like we're kind of circling back to a lot of the things that y'all brought up. They proved that they can win. There are going to be times where games are very close at the end of the game. And this and the Iowa State game, I think, will give this team a little bit more confidence in the future, knowing that if it comes down to the wire, they can close out a game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the stress points are going to be there eventually. Not everything is going to be a 15-point victory. They had won in those 7 straight games. They'd all won by 15 or more points. Not every game is going to be like that. The league's too tough, and then you're going to get to the tournament, and you're just not going to beat everybody by 15. So there are going to be stress points at some point. So it was good to see them handle that. What else we have in the chat room? We'll keep bouncing through all of these here. As we pull up the next one, I will also point out that this team early on saw the young guys. Tahad Pettiford early in the game, really good out of the gate.
I have a comment on him.
Miles Kelly had 13 points in the first half to set the tone as well. Go ahead, Taylor, on Pettiford.
So this was the first half. It was closer to the end of the first half. But his poise and his composure as a freshman is insane to me. The maturity that he has on the basketball court, he turns the ball over, turns around, hits a 3-point shot. Doesn't hang his head about it. He turns around and he hits a shot. A couple possessions later, he fouls. Then he has a steal, and then that insane layup. I don't even know what he did, but Auburn posted on Twitter. So I was very impressed with the way that he was able to bounce back after he made a mistake, which might seem simple, but you're playing on the road, you're playing a conference game, and you're a freshman. This is only the second quote unquote true Houston. I count as a road game. It was in Houston, but neutral site. Duke officially is the only other true road game that this team has played this year. So he's a freshman playing his second ever true road game. And to be able to have that much mental control, that much composure and poise as a young player was extremely impressive to me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I had circled Pettiford and Miles at halftime by the way they got to start off. The basketball show post game as Auburn wins 87 to 82 at Texas at the Moody Center, which, by the way, as we get to more of your comments, did not have a great atmosphere tonight. They probably don't have students on campus. That seems to be a thing these early SEC games, but it was not a. It wasn't Neville Arena. It wasn't Coleman Coliseum. It wasn't Rupp Arena. It wasn't what you get in some of the the Hump in Starkville. So it's my first time seeing an SEC game at the Moody Center, and it was a big flat C plus B minus for me. Not a great atmosphere to help the home team there. So don't put that right now. They've got a lot of
screens in there, though.
They do. They have a lot of screens. We can all read the lyrics of the hymns. It's like a mega church in there. What else we have in the chat room over there from the people who are watching us? Let's get to a lot of the
Tesla talk, which I think that this could prove true for every single SEC team. Auburn will be in trouble on the road against good teams. Everyone is going to struggle on the road because every SEC team is a good team.
Yeah, I think that is true. We saw it flip around tonight. Tennessee at Florida. Kentucky loses at Georgia. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we expect in this league. We'll see tomorrow night. Alabama goes on the road for its first SEC road game. But Auburn won theirs in Texas. Texas is an 11-4 team now. It's a quad one win, at least right now. It may go down if Texas continues to drop. They got a tremendously tough schedule. But, win as many as you can on the road and win them all at home. You got a chance to be regular season champions. And I think Auburn fans expect Auburn to be the regular season champions when it's said and done.
Yeah, Texas, they are traveling to Tennessee next, which I'm sure they'll be fired up and trying to win. So,
yeah,
thoughts and prayers to Texas.
Nice schedule.
I know. Jay said, why is it always CBM in a scuffle? We'll come back to bite him again. I don't think that I'm assuming he's talking about the hook and hold at the end of the game. I wouldn't consider that a scuffle. I actually think that he kept his composure at the end of the game better than Janai did.
Yeah, I would tell you that, he was, again, I always say this, so I'll say it again first. I think one of the reasons why Auburn is so good defensively is because of Chad Baker-Mazara. He plays on an edge. He plays on a line that is very aggressive. And, part of being good defensively is being aggressive on that line. And when you're on the line, sometimes you cross it. And I don't think he crossed it tonight, but I did think, he was sort of leaning onto his back, which allowed for the hook and the flip. But, wasn't anything illegal he did. He got hooked and held and flipped over his back, but he was sort of into his back area there. The foul was somewhere else and that. So I don't think he was seeking out a scuffle in that situation as he may be indicating there. But controversy does seem to find Chad Baker-Mazara, even when it's not his fault, is I think maybe what he's saying. He's just one of those people that he's electricity. I mean, it goes in all directions and sometimes it hurts other people. Sometimes you hurt yourself with it.
Right. I mean, you got to be smart at the end of the day. We kind of touched on this, but I love that Tahad absolutely lives for high pressure situations. I gasped in excitement when I saw him sub in. I believe that this game is now how many points did he end up with?
Who are you saying?
Tahad.
Tahad. I ended up freezing there a little bit. I think that was on my end right there. I've got it right in front of me. Pettiford ended up tonight with 10 points.
Okay, 10 points.
Yeah.
So he has now scored double digits in every single game versus a ranked opponent this season. And that's last episode. I called him primetime Pettiford. He shows up in big games. It's like he plays better versus better talent versus a better opponent. Which,
and that's the kind of guy you want, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. And it's not that he necessarily plays poorly other times, but when he shines is not versus a mid-major team. It's versus the most elite talent that Auburn has played so far this season. I feel like Auburn is going to beat themselves before team straight up beats them. Such a talented team.
They are a talented team. And when they were up 21, I scribbled this down. And I'm going to say it on the show tomorrow, but please don't think I'm trying to, I'm in a terrible place because if I compliment Auburn, you think I'm trying to land my.
No,
we can't go all season without me complimenting the number one team in the country. So,
well, if we're sitting here having a discussion talking about them, then you can say whatever you want. But sometimes you got to admit that I think you go a little bit out of your way to get me riled up. But continue on.
But that was not the case the other day, and in this case, this is not the case because I think this is reality with what I'm about to say.
Yeah, freedom of speech.
This team has the potential to be the most dominant team in Auburn sports history, and that's any sport. They have the potential to be the most dominant team in Auburn sports history, more dominant, obviously, than the Final Four team. If they meet what their expectations are, which is right now number one in the country, more dominant than Cam's 2010 team, than Bo's 1983 team, any Hal Baird baseball team, any of Joe Champy's women's team that went to back-to-back Final Fours back in the 80s. I just believe that there is potential as we watch this team go throughout the year, and there will be losses, but I think there's potential for this to be the most dominant team in Auburn sports history. And as we go through this season, I hope people appreciate that as you watch them, even if they drop a game here or there, that when they get to the tournament, if they are able to finish the deal and win the national championship, and they may not even have to do that. They may be so good that if they just make it to Final Four, that you can put them ahead of the other Final Four team. But I truly believe that we are watching something special that, those of you that will live longer than me can say to your grandkids 30 years from now, 40 years from now, say, man, I saw the most dominant team in Auburn history. And this team has that potential right now because they were up 21 in this game. They were sort of playing with their food, and Texas got back into this thing, and Auburn won by 5. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. I'm not saying it's going to be that. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship. I'm just saying as you watch this team play this year, they have the potential to being the most dominant Auburn sports team ever.
Well, that's something that I think I tweeted about earlier this season. It was before conference play even started. And I think it was towards the end of Auburn's non-conference schedule. I said, it's okay to enjoy what's happening right now because it was when all of those records were being posted. Everyone that was on the internet talking about college basketball was posting a CVS receipt long list of the records that they've broken, whether they're Auburn records or, the KenPom. They have the most efficient offense in the history of KenPom right now, that kind of stuff. I was thinking to myself, and I posted it somewhere on the internet, it's okay to enjoy it. Like we talked about before, this isn't football season. If you lose a game, obviously in March, you can't lose a game and continue on. But if you lose a game, it's not the end of the world. But like you said, we are witnessing something special right now in terms of Auburn history and in terms of college basketball history. This team is elite.
Yeah. Now you can lose one player and it could change everything. It's a long season. But right now, I even told you today, I was like, before I left the office, I said, boy, back when they released the schedule and it was going to be Texas's first year in the league, Auburn at Texas at the Moody Center in Austin, I told you I circled that game. And then earlier today, Auburn's a 10.5-point favorite, and I didn't think it'd be as close as it ended up being. I thought it'd be about a 15-point game when it was all said and done. I told you this team is so good. It's almost going to take a little bit of the fun out of some of these tough games that I thought were going to be tough. It ended up being interesting at the end, but for seriously, for about 32 minutes, just a dominating performance. You got to really appreciate the greatness, because there's a situation where there may not be a lot of really close games in some cases where you think to yourself, man, I'd like to see a little something exciting here.
Right.
I'd like it to be really a good game like that Duke game was. Auburn didn't win that one, but that was a back and forth game.
Yeah, and in terms of progressing throughout the season, as the season goes on, games like this aren't good for the health of anyone watching, but coaching points come out of it.
Yeah.
There are things, if they play phenomenal every game and there's very little for the coaches to be upset about, that I feel like will come back to bite you in the butt. I like the idea that, there are going to be some things that this coaching staff is not happy about, particularly the last half of the second half when things kind of went awry.
Yeah. Well, that's becoming a pattern now, right? We saw it at the Purdue game. We saw it at the game this past weekend against Missouri. We've seen it now. So that's 2 SEC games. We've seen, them get a little sloppy with a big lead late. Now, you've had such a big lead, you've been able to survive both of those, no problem. But you don't want to start playing 32 minutes of good basketball and then 8 sloppy basketball, because there'll be games that don't cost you.
Well, the Missouri game, I think that the last couple of minutes, part of that was due to the bench playing. It was majority walk-ons in there. And tonight it was the starters. So I can't say that wouldn't have happened if they were in the game. But tonight was the most legitimately concerned that I've been during a game this season about, okay, they really could blow a massive lead that they had. Okay, Landmine Believer, which I haven't looked at this yet because we hopped on right when the game ended, but Landmine Believer said Duke is now number 1 on KenPom. They might be number 1 on Monday since they have the head-to-head over Auburn.
Maybe. I don't know how you can play on the road and Duke at home tonight, but I am looking at the current KenPom. It includes 29 of 34 games played on Tuesday, so there's still a couple of more games, but they'll be all late night games. So I guess we'll wake up tomorrow with Duke number 1. I don't know where they jumped up from. I guess they were number 3. They just beat Pitt at home tonight. Maggie was at the game, I think. She's up on campus, yeah. So she said there was a game. She was thinking about walking over for it and using her student pass. And and I was like, it should be a good game. And it wasn't a good game, but I didn't think it'd be enough for them to jump over Auburn. But I guess that's where the head-to-head may play in. Not that it matters. 1 or 2 doesn't matter, yeah.
Well, and these rankings, KenPom and the analytics-based stuff adjust every day. So there will be a lot of movement throughout the season.
So I guess Duke was 2 and Auburn was 1, and they just maybe flipped for a second.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, to be completely honst, but
some of that may be opponent T, because Pittsburgh is now 26. That's who they drilled tonight. In Texas, they went up from the 4 to 37 because they played Auburn within 5 points.
Yeah, so Texas is 37
they lost and got a
according
big,
to KenPom.
You lost me there for a second.
Yeah, just for a second. But yeah, I think Texas is 37.
Yeah, they lost tonight and jumped up 8 spots because of the quality loss against Auburn. And Pittsburgh is 26. So Duke drilled a higher seeded team. That may be the few data points to jump them over.
Drew said Pitt's not quad 1, right? I'm pulling up the net rankings right now. So Pitt played at Duke. So
yeah, they're number 26. They're just outside.
In net?
26 in the KenPom I'm looking at. You want me to look at net?
I'm pulling it up. They're 15 in net. So yeah, that's a quad 1 win.
Yeah.
So Duke is now 4 and 2.
Auburn's got 7, but Auburn's still number 1 in the net. But the net doesn't update instantly like KenPom does.
Yeah.
You'll get a new net ranking tomorrow.
I saw a question about Auburn's schedule. Rick Ross, is Florida at home? Yes, Auburn plays Florida in Auburn, so that will be a home game.
Yeah,
Okay,
I like Auburn's schedule. They got Tennessee is at Auburn as well, right?
yeah, the end of this month. I believe January 25th is when Tennessee will be there. They do have a favorable schedule. Obviously, there's every opponent's going to be a challenging opponent, but in terms of who they're playing at home and who they're playing on the road, I think that the tougher opponents, the tougher out of the tough, out of the whole group of tough, will be played at home. Obviously, they have to play in Tuscaloosa in February, and then Alabama will come to Auburn in March. But they play Kentucky at Kentucky. They play Tennessee at home, Florida at home. This is a good.
Yeah, here immediately. Auburn's at South Carolina, home to Mississippi State, who's really good, by the way, especially defensively. That'll be a battle.
Yeah,
Then
they're sleepers.
Then they're at Georgia, home to Tennessee, at LSU to wrap up the month of January. They do go to Ole Miss, home to Oklahoma, home to Florida, the home and home with Alabama, home to Calipari and Arkansas, home to Georgia, home to Ole Miss, at Kentucky, at Texas A&M, and host Alabama. So yeah, you're right. The toughest of the tough is at Neville Arena. Pretty good schedule there.
Right. This is a great comment and a great topic of discussion. Chad baking lasagna. Chad Baker Mazzara is a much better Katie. Chad Bacon. There's one that makes me laugh every time, but that's beside the point. Is a much better Katie Johnson, especially offensively. Katie Johnson, he was entertaining from a personality standpoint, but he was such a liability. The guy would hit one shot and then think that he could shoot from anywhere on the court and make it. I think that Chad has a better or a higher basketball IQ. Yeah, he's a better player. Personalities are on the same level, I think. But yeah, Katie was a little bit of a liability. And I mean, I shouldn't be comparing liability to Chad, but I think that Chad has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, but to his point is, both of those played on a line, especially defensively. They were not afraid to sort of push your buttons a little bit, trying to get you to get off your baseline, trying to get you off your spot emotionally. And Katie Johnson didn't bring, what Chad Baker ended up like 14, 16 points. And Chad wasn't really aggressive early on shooting. I thought he was playing very passive early in the game offensively, and then they started running through him on a couple of plays, which is just great coaching. And then that sort of got him going to get to double figures. I think about 16 points for him tonight.
Yeah, he had 16 on the dot.
Yeah, very quiet 16, relatively speaking. But that's a pretty good comparison. He presses buttons like KD did. He just scores and plays a lot better defense. I mean, you see him on the other team's best shooter usually. Chad Baker Mazzara usually draws.
Yep. Okay, Drew, do you think Bruce will start playing Tahad more down the stretch moving forward? I'm opinionated on this one.
What do you have?
No, I don't think so. I think that the rotation that we're seeing right now is the rotation that they're going to stick with, barring injury, because Tahad can make shots, but he has struggled turning the ball over a little bit. He has the most turnovers on the roster. And defensively, he's not as strong defensively as some of the other guys on the court. So while he can provide that spark plug on the offense, I think that we have other options that are stronger defensively. And he has improved. And Bruce talks about his improvement and his desire to learn and get better whenever he's asked about him in press conferences. But I don't think that anyone in the starting lineup is going to get bumped and Tahad take their space. And I think that Tahad's fine coming off the bench, which I could be wrong, but that's my opinion.
I would tell you this tonight in a game that ended up being close down the stretch. Janai Broome played 36 of 40 minutes, so he played a lot of minutes.
Yep.
Aaron Jones played 33 of 40. Miles Kelly played 29 of the 40. Chad Baker played 28 of the 40. Chaney Johnson played 22 of the 40. And then you get to Cardwell, who played 17. Pettiford played 17. Howard actually played 10 and Moore played 8. So you only played 9 players tonight.
Yeah.
A little shorter bench, a little longer on the court for a couple of the guys tonight.
Yeah, and that probably would have changed if they wouldn't have blown it, or I guess almost blown a 20-point lead at the end of the game. But Jakai, we haven't talked about Jakai at all. And someone who just said
3 for 4, 10 minutes tonight.
Someone said something. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm losing these comments. Okay, well, Clay just now said Jakai Howard needs to be on the court more. I am so proud of this kid. We know what happened at the beginning of the season. That's in the past. But I was very interested to see how he reacted to that and how he came back, what his attitude was like. And I'm sure he had to start talking to, and, fixing the attitude wasn't necessarily going to be an option for him. It's probably fix the attitude, or, we're going to be having a different discussion. But he's someone that I've paid attention to a lot during the games if they show the bench, or if I'm at a game and they show the bench, just because his name was in the headlines in such negative light early on in the season. And he has done a complete 180 in terms of support, attitude, from what I can tell, from an outside perspective. And tonight he played his butt off defensively. The effort plays. Again, I think you said he only had 10 minutes, but he was busting his butt when he was out there.
10 minutes is his low since the Purdue game. 19 in the Purdue game, 17 against Monmouth, 11 against Missouri, 10 more tonight. He's averaging 14 on the year, but in the last 4 games, when 3 of them were against really good competition, his minutes have actually been a little higher than most people probably expected, including 19 against Purdue in that blowout in Birmingham. So good call by whoever put that in the post there. As you find another one, I was thinking about a T-shirt. If they don't already make these, do they make these yet? One of the great Auburn cheers, I think it's Bodegetta. Right?
I'm scared. Yes, I'm scared.
Sis Broome Ba. Would that not be a good T-shirt?
That would be a great T-shirt. Did you tweet that?
I did. Sis
okay.
Broome.
I was about to say,
okay,
like
look, this is how it goes.
Okay.
Sis Broome Ba. Wiggle, wiggle, word M eagle at the bottom.
Can you
small letters.
Provide us with a sketch.
Not here, but it would be very, very block letters here. Sis, bigger, Broome, smaller, Ba, and then really small letters. Wiggle, wiggle, word M eagle. Pretty good looking T-shirt, I think.
Yeah.
They may already be in existence, and I've just never seen them.
Not that I'm aware of, but we are exposing this idea to a lot of people right now, so someone could be making it. Let's see.
Somebody design it for us, and we'll make them at the next round.
Yeah.
Unless they're already being made.
If you are bored right now at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever day it is, and would like to design a T-shirt, DM it to us, and we'll see what we can do. I think this may have been the one that I went to. Jakai Howard needs to be on the court more. Lame Believer. I don't understand how Janai Broome dominates these games. He's the most unathletic player I've ever seen, but dominates every single game. I don't know how he does it. I don't know about that. I'm assuming that that's probably just a little trolling going on.
Well, I would say this, that he, and if it's not trolling, here's what I think he's talking about. I think he's talking about he smoothly, he has his back to the basket, well guarded, and he can smoothly start dribble, and when you think he's going to make a move around you, he sort of throws that baby hook in, or he can move in across the lane, he sort of stops and rolls it in. He just easily, without effort, does a very non-athletic looking move, according to him, and puts it in the hole. He's, as they said in the broadcast, our buddy Damian Fishback, he knows his space, he creates his space and puts it in there, puts it in the hole really well. So if you call that non-athletic, then I guess I understand what you're saying, that he makes it look easy, but it's very athletic on what he's doing there. I think great athletes make things that are hard to do look easy.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, Clay, the one that brought up Jakai, said, tell Dunaway it was Clay from Destin that made that comment about Jakai Howard.
All right, Clay from Destin. Thank you, buddy. Is it because I said whoever made that? Or
Do what?
Was it because I didn't call out his name? Clay,
No, I
here's
didn't.
something. Here's
I'm
something you should
assuming
know,
you've
Clay.
met him at Destin.
I just know
and that's why
Clay.
you're saying that.
I just know this, Clay. I am
Okay.
I'm a guy who you think LT is technically challenged. He is more than me. But for me, whatever I get on the screen once the show starts, that is what I get. And for a moment, I had the chat, and then I clicked on something because when Taylor was posting it, I couldn't see it. So I clicked on something to be able to see it. And then I lost the chat, but I see everything fine when she posts something. So I missed your name.
Okay. Don't worry about it. I think that he was just trying to remind you of who he was. I'm assuming you met him in Destin. Let's see. Let's do a couple more. Okay, Drew, do y'all think Broome gets the calls he should, or does he have an argument?
Well, that was obviously a foul. Hit on the forehead.
In terms of the last one.
I don't understand how the other two officials didn't see it. The guy who he ended up arguing with probably was blocked by Janai himself from that angle and probably couldn't see the hand to the forehead. But how the other two didn't see it, that's mind-boggling to me. And again, as I said earlier, and I tweeted this, that when you blew a call or you think maybe I blew that call, if he's this upset about it, you sort of let him vent. Now, if you're going by should stars in the game get the benefit of the doubt, you get that in the NBA. You don't get that as much in college. Shaquille O'Neal played forever at LSU. For you young people, he is the guy that's on the show with Charles Barkley and the guys on the NBA and is an NBA Hall of Famer. But he used to play college basketball at LSU. And he got no calls when he was at LSU. People would hang on him. And there was a thing called hack-a-shack, where you would intentionally foul him to make him go to the free throw line because he couldn't shoot free throws. You would hack a shack. And that was actually it was a defense back then. It's called hack-a-shack. You would just hack him, send him to the free throw line and let him go 1 for 2 or 0 for 2 and play defense against him. But he, you can't call all the fouls they tried to foul him on. So I do think Janai, being a big guy, gets fouled more than the calls he gets, but I think it happens to a lot of people in the paint. And it's a physical league, and you're gonna have to live with it. But he slaps me in the forehead, /nose, and with a little upward motion. By the way, it's sort of a weird.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that before. That would have pissed me off too. I'll go ahead and tell you, and I probably would have gotten a technical. Probably a lot quicker.
I probably would have too, and that's why I feel bad commenting. I'm like, keep your composure, Janai. I would have lost my mind, but I'm not out there.
I cuss a lot. My favorite cuss word is the F word, and
I
would have dropped the F word on the official right there, and then everybody would have lip synced it, lip read it on national TV because you'd have had a slow motion replay play of going.
I don't think that we would have needed the lip reading experts for that. Forrester said Denver Jones, one of my favorite players in recent Auburn basketball history. I love Denver too because he doesn't jaw at anyone. He just goes out there, does his job, and that's it. He minds his own business. He's not super flashy. He's not getting into the tussle that Chad might be. He quietly loads the stat sheet. Tonight, he only had, only 10 points. He's been a little bit.
What was he in the assist department? Do you have that in front of you?
He had 4 assists. But I like that he's quiet. I love the big personalities on our team. Don't get me wrong, but I think that there needs to be a healthy mix of the two.
All right. So for you, 2,344 people who are watching right now, whoever's dialed in on the platforms, Taylor likes the quiet types. So as you hit her up in the chats often, don't always be outgoing. The quiet types sometimes.
Guys, don't always take you this so far out of context.
I see the chats, man. I see everyone who always has comments. Hey, my favorite one tonight was, hey, where are you, Taylor? What are you doing after the game? You tweeted back.
Yeah.
Going live with Dunaway. You're going live with Dunaway.
Yeah, I invited him to tune in, but I don't know if he did.
I'm sure he did. He's only seeing This happened
Okay.
screen.
All right. Let's get back on track. This is not a dating show. I'm talking about the
Oh,
personality
can we
of
do
the
one of
Auburn
those? I'd
roster.
love to host that.
No, absolutely not. No. That would be a disaster. Forrester, help me out here. No.
This is usually
No.
a Forrester goes to a single screen and drops me out.
No. That just like better. Okay. Let's get one more. Let's get one more and let's wrap it up. Guys, we're going to be here after every game this season. Don't forget.
Two guesses what's in the cup.
Huh?
Two guesses what's in the cup.
Not water.
Not water. Good call.
Okay.
Just good old Diet Coke.
Oh, right. I bet. Okay. Miles Kelly. Where did this go about y'all? I'm sorry. I'm really struggling with this tonight. I think I might need glasses. Kelly is a 6 shooter from 3-point land. He is. And he's been, I feel like, hot and cold, but he can hit a 3-point shot.
I will tell you this. Two things I want to say. One of them about uniforms. I'll save that for the next point. The shooting, you were talking Denver and Miles. My favorite thing, and as you saw me pay off the bracket challenge this year, you saw it in person. Everyone else saw it on our social media platform. I don't think it ever happens for me, but I love it when they shoot the threes. And you had 4 or 5 of them tonight for Auburn, where you shoot them a long way and the net doesn't even move. And it's like, it goes in and the net doesn't move. It's just so perfectly on target and spun perfectly. It just hits the nylon and just sort of spins down it, makes a sound. I don't have that in me. I'm not that athletic. And Denver had at least one of those, and Miles had maybe 2 of those tonight to be able to shoot like that. I see a lot of things that I wish I could do. Singing is one of them. Being able to make a 3-point shot, make that sound is another. None of my shots make that sound. And everyone who's watching knows that sound. When it's shot perfectly, it makes a sound that you can even hear when there's 9,100 fans in Neville Arena.
How often would you, Drew, Miles he tweaked his shooting wrist. I don't know what I think I said this the other day. I don't know what percentage I would give him in terms of he's 95% healthy, 80% healthy, but I know that he has been dealing with a right wrist injury. How often do you shoot the basketball though? Is it like how often would you even be able to take advantage of that? And then I have one more hypothetical question for you.
Okay, on the uniform thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, since I'm not an Auburn fan. I don't know how you guys feel about your not home uniforms, your non-whites, but the blue that you wore tonight is my favorite. That's my favorite Auburn uniform that you wore tonight. Do y'all have
next
a favorite?
year, what?
Do y'all have a favorite uniform? Do you have a favorite color? Do you like the orange? I don't love the orange.
You don't love it, or you do?
I love the blue one tonight. I don't love the orange one. The white one's good.
I like, football-wise, I love the Stormtrooper uniform. I don't know. I mean, I like them all. I'm excited to see a teaser of what the Nike uniforms will look like for football and basketball next year. Because
when do you think we'll get that? Summer?
Oh, I don't know when we'll get it, but I mean, sometime before the start of next season.
Probably in July. Probably like July 1.
Okay. Yeah,
when the contract starts. Yeah.
I like the orange. Yeah. Okay. The chat is everyone in the chat has said orange of our. I don't mind the orange. I kind of forgot about them. I saw a picture earlier today.
So
I can't remember where.
Saying
orange.
They love the orange.
Orange greater than blue for basketball. I like the orange better than the blue. White is elite. So seems like you might be in the minority, but that's okay.
I am.
Yeah.
Someone. Not an Auburn fan, so it works out.
Oh, we're aware.
Yeah, y'all don't care what I like anyway, but I like those blues. I thought they looked good.
No, don't. Your opinion always matters. Score prediction for Bama tomorrow from AU Big Bob.
Don't know what I'm getting with South Carolina. Much like the Moody Center, I don't think it's the toughest place to play in the SEC. This is where I make a prediction. Goes the wrong way, and Alabama fans going to say I landmined them. I don't know what the point spread is if there's one out there, but I'm going to say
I'll look.
Alabama. Let's say Alabama wins it by 10.
Okay, let me see if
10
there's
on the
a
road in South Carolina.
spread. Carter said ready to name the floor Bruce Pearl Court. Give them the arena. Screw the court naming. Give them the arena. The Nevilles, I think, would be happy to do that. I don't know them, but I feel like they would be willing to do that because he deserves it. Okay, let me see if this
Yeah, why not go Bruce Pearl Arena, but Neville Court?
Neville Court. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Alabama is a 10-point favorite. Exactly. Is that what you just
Are they
predicted?
really? I
Yeah.
did. I think Alabama wins by 10, which tells you I'm not even making a prediction on which way to bet. I have to go to Lance's lock for that. But by the way, Lance all over the Florida game today. He told me during a commercial break, he's like, "You want to go to mybookie.ag and make some money? Hit up Florida. They're going to win the game tonight." I was like,
Yeah.
"They may
Tennessee.
win, but
Do I
are they
throw
gonna
my
cover
child's tuition on South Carolina money line? We are not going to give you financial advice here.
No. And I
Whatever
don't
you
lose
think.
half as much as is played up on the show. I lose a lot. I lose extreme things like if I really am enjoying something, then it can go bad for me really quickly. But the Buccaneers are my team, and we're in the playoffs for 5 straight years. So I mean, not everything goes to crap when I make predictions. But I like Alabama by 10. Now it's a point spread, so I'll say 11. I'll say Alabama covers.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Check
all
back
right.
in tomorrow night after the game when
Yeah.
Alabama gets upset. We can blame it
And
on
we'll
me.
be right here. They're not going to get upset, but we will be right here.
That's right. We'll do this again. It'll be a little earlier. It'll be after the Alabama game, which tips at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, and we'll be on shortly right after. We'll do the whole thing again. And then the basketball show. Set your alerts, thumbs ups, and subscribe over at Next Round Live on YouTube, Next Round Live on YouTube. And if you've got your alerts set, you'll know every time we drop a new episode of our basketball twice a week on the recorded show. And then after every Alabama and Auburn game, the live show all the way through the Final Four. We hope. For 2 teams would be great.
We hope.
Yeah. All right, Taylor. That's it for tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Bundle up. I think the latest forecast is some accumulations in the morning hours in North Alabama. Some wintry
Are we doing a
mix
weather report?
in the middle. This is all Friday morning. So I hope you have a plan on Friday to be safe. Friday morning to be safe.
Yeah.
So.
Y'all stay safe out there.
That's right. Cold weather everywhere. Give them a War Eagle after the win.
War Eagle, guys. Y'all have a good night. And we will see you. Janai will see you in a couple hours. And we will see you in less than 12.
Okay. So long, everybody.
Okay.